Ladies, gentlemen, and vault hunters of all ages, there's one thing above all in Borderlands that makes players rabid like a seaman under the siren's call. Not those sirens, but it's guns. Guns, guns, guns. Grenades, rocket launchers, hell, even shields and rep kits make me happy, but guns are the main goal. And if you want to really experience the wackiest stuff that Borderlands 4 has to offer, you need to find the wacky equipment. There's a ton of RNG involved in what gear you'll find. There's some areas or concepts that you do have a lot more control over though, and aside from that, even for the pure randomness based stuff, there are ways to maximize your odds and get the most out of every situation. So today we're going to go over how to farm two things. First, just a large quantity of gear in general. Most of your slots, the best items won't actually even be a legendary, it'll be some randomly rolled weapon or shield that just works incredibly well as the sum of its parts, it got the right modifiers on it, and it just is powerful. The best way to get a good roll on those is to just get a lot of rolls, to have lots and lots of items drop so you have the largest potential set of options. So we'll talk about how to just get as much loot as possible consistently, and then we'll go over legendaries a bit more specifically as well, including one method at the end of the video that can get you dozens if not hundreds of legendaries per hour depending on how efficiently you can loop it. And we'll be focusing today on pre-endgame, so during the story and your progression through your first journey through the game. That said, there are two main concepts that will be coming up in both of these sections, so I want to cover that first, and it's the main bulk of my recommendations for these topics, honestly. First is the Rift Champion bubble bosses. While you are roaming around the world, you might spot one of these big energy domes. If you enter the bubble, a boss will spawn from a limited pool of bosses potentially, and if you either step out of the bubble or die to the boss, it will despawn and disappear. These bubbles will pop up at random. You can't really predict them where they're going to be, you can't seek them out really, but if you see one as you are moving around the world, there is no real reason not to engage with it. The bosses drop a pile of loot, especially if you get lucky and get one of the bosses from the pool that is like multiple bosses at the same time, because when that happens, each one of them drops their own pile of little stuff. They have pretty solid loot drop rates. A lot of my best quality loot while leveling and progressing through the story came from these bubbles that I was just coming across them while I was trucking along the world. When you defeat the bosses, you also get a reward cache sent to your inventory that has a chance of rolling a legendary weapon. And while that's not a high chance necessarily, it's just a nice extra bonus and a bonus guaranteed weapon. Overall point being that these guys are like little loot pinatas, lots of loot, relatively high quality loot, and the reward to time ratio from them is fantastic. The only issue is that you can't really actively farm them so much as you just sort of have to do them when you come across them. That said, that's not true of our next option, which is boss respawning. A new feature for Borderlands 4 is that we now have the option to actively respawn any boss we've already killed without like save loading or anything like that. For those that are story mission bosses, this will unlock after you finish the mission that you fight them in. For other bosses, it just happens immediately after you defeat them. Use the Moxxi Encore machine right before their boss room, and in exchange for a small amount of cash, the boss will spawn and then you can have a go at them again. They will drop a big pile of loot upon death, including potential legendaries from their drop pool of course, and the way that they've done this, every boss room gets a little grapple rift portal that you can go through after killing the boss to loop right back to the Encore machine and repeat it on end. You can do this with any boss as a way to fix up your general gear and fill up your slots with level appropriate stuff at any given point in progression, as it's just nice big piles of repeatable loot that is always scaled to your level. Or you can use it to farm out specific legendaries if you want them to and you know where they come from. The best version of all of this though is the vaults. We'll have a full guide to the vaults coming out soon more than likely, but there are optional activity vaults on the map that you unlock through exploration. These contain some of the coolest bosses at the end of them, some of the most mechanically interesting, and like the other bosses, vault bosses can be rematched through the Moxxi Encore machine mechanic. They drop more loot than the majority of other bosses, at the cost of course being a bit more difficult. They have more interesting dedicated drop pools, and as an extra bonus, after you defeat a Vault Guardian through this, there are 2 red chests full of gear to open up, 2 for even more loot, and the chests do respawn and re-roll every time you respawn the boss. This does apply to other boss-based chests too, but the Vault Guardian gives you 2 chests afterwards, so these are pretty much the exact ideal rematchable kind of boss if you want to just get a lot of good gear at any given moment. That said, Vault bosses are far from the easiest bosses, so they may not be your ideal farm source until you are strong enough to burst them down quickly. On that note, I said the term dedicated drops a few times already, so for a quick refresher for anyone who doesn't know, Borderlands 4's bosses all have heightened drop chances for a few select specific legendaries each. Almost any legendary can come from almost anywhere through pure luck, but each boss has raised chances of dropping a few select legendary items. So if you know that you want a specific legendary, and you know the boss that it is the dedicated drop for, you can then just run that boss repeatedly and you will get the legendary relatively quickly and reliably. I've not yet seen any fully completed lists of the dedicated drops in Borderlands 4, and for the most part this won't matter until endgame really, but it is worth being aware of as a mechanic even now. Next up, we've got vending machines, and this may sound a little bit odd, but there are tons and tons of vending machines in Borderlands 4. They have items that they will sell you, but most often the one most valuable thing will be the item of the day, which you can see just by walking up to the machine. This applies to both gun vending machines and the medical vending machines, and the important part is that every vending machine has independent stock from each other. A gun vending machine in one place has different items than any other gun vending machine in your world, and all vending machines restock and swap out their items every 30 minutes. This may sound minor, but I have found I think 5 different legendaries just from walking by a vending machine at the right moment in time and then purchasing it. And you can force this more purposefully once you have a few vending machines unlocked by just doing a fast travel loop to various fast travel points with vending machines. Check out what they've got and if it's worth your money. For most people, this won't be worth sitting around doing actively, just making it a mainstay of your time, but maybe you've got the game open while you're eating a snack or something like that, or maybe you're waiting for a friend to return to continue your co-op playthrough, things like that. If you have 5 minutes where you are in the game is open, but you're not doing anything actively, you can spend that time instead checking on vending machines and seeing what you find. You might be able to see a sick purple piece of gear and pick it up, or you might even get lucky and add a new legendary to your collection. Next up, we get into some funkier stuff. This one I would say isn't so much of a gear farm as much as it is a weird new activity that can give gear, and so I think it's worth mentioning, which is fishing. There are some spots around the water areas on the map that you will see these splashing puddles, and you can use the grapple prompt on them. This will pop stuff up out of the water. The vast majority of the time you'll just have a can pop out that is absolutely worthless. Sometimes you get explodables to pop out. Sometimes an actual fish will pop out, which is funny, but you can have full-on proper guns pop out from this too, and I've even heard of people getting legendaries from fishing. So if you are walking by some water and you see this splashing animation, you might as well interact with it and see what you get. And make sure if it's something that you actually want, you make a point of grappling it out of the air before it falls back into the water, because once it touches the water, you will lose it forever. Finally, just a couple of final topics, which are more so something I think should be saved, and so I'm telling you about them now, so you know that you should save them for later. The first is the side quest, Vend of the Line, with a little bit of a caveat. You'll find this side quest in Carcadia City within the desert region of the map. It's a pretty hard one to miss, but this side quest's end reward is your choice from a selection of 8 random legendaries, which are scaled to your level. If you are just playing the game normally, I absolutely recommend just saving the side quest to do at level 50 if you are capable of that level of restraint, but that said, it is worth noting for those who do not mind doing a bit of save reverting shenanigans to get loads of shiny loot within their lives, you can actually sort of ghost complete this quest. At least this is the thing you can do if you are playing on PC, but I don't believe it works on console even with cloud saves. That said, for PC, what I mean by that is that you can back up your save before you select your legendary, then you can get your legendary, send it to your bank, and then there is a way to reset your save back in time a little bit without affecting your bank, which resets you to before you chose a legendary, so you can still choose a new one, but the one you chose before is still inside of your bank. As for how to do this a bit more specifically, do the side quest normally until you get to the final step, vending machine in a cave, then it turns into a fight against the vending machine. After you defeat the vending machine, don't do anything. This is when you get to choose from your 8 free legendaries, but we aren't quite set up for the farm yet. After doing this, you want to go to this exact spot here on your map to activate the respawn location. This is the closest respawn point nearby, and when you load into your save, you go to your active respawn point. After activating the checkpoint then, we do our save shenanigans. Go to this file path here, users, documents, then just keep going along this line like I'm showing you here until you reach the client folder. This has one save file for each individual character that you have, and then the profile file. The file that you are after here is the most recently updated one other than profile, because profile is what counts your bank. For me, it's number 5. For you, it will probably be number 1 if it's your first character. I would make a backup of that numbered file just to be safe before doing anything further. Just copy the file, leave it somewhere else where you won't lose it. Then, to set up the farm, simply right-click the save file, hit Properties, and then set it to Read Only. This means that your save file cannot be updated. Once this is set up as such, you can go back into the game, pick up your free legendary from the available options at the vending machine, go into your inventory, mark the item as bank, use the Send Marked Items to Bank function to teleport it directly over, quit to the main menu, and load in again. And as long as your save file is set to read only, you can just repeat this completely. It will set you back to before you chose the item, but the item will still be in your bank to pick up later. You can do this as many times in a row as you like. Just make sure that when you are done, you take the save back off of read only so that your game can save like normal again. For a bit of extra information, for those wondering, the vending machine stock does scale with your level, but it does update its stock every 30 minutes, which means when it updates, it will make its active stock match your current level. This means that you can choose to do this quest and abuse this save resetting function even at level 20, then you can just leave it here, come back later at like level 30, do it again, so on and so forth whenever you like, and the rewards will still scale to level 50 once you hit level 50, which is massive. This means if you are messing with this loop, you can start it whenever you want without worrying about locking yourself out of something for max level. Finally then, we should talk about golden keys and shift codes. Golden keys are used to open the golden chest in any major hub. I'm going to go against my own advice here and open it up just to show you what type of stuff you'll get, but these are intended to give really solid loot. They are a high quality chest, and I recommend saving these as well for level 50. You get golden keys for the most part from shift codes. Shift codes are not a gameplay mechanic. You go to your shift profile page in game, use the redeem function, and then you can put in a code. These codes are usually released through the Borderlands social media pages and stuff like that, but we will also try to keep you updated on new shift keys as they're announced in any Borderlands video that we release, where gear is relevant, of course. That said, there are 2 current shift codes out for these golden keys. Both of them are on screen right now. The codes themselves usually do have expiry dates, so use them or lose them, with the first code expiring on September 30th. The second one not currently listed for expiry. That just about does it for today then, everyone. A guide to getting lots and lots of gear, and high quality gear especially, either actively by farming it or more passively by just knowing what to look out for as you move through the world. This should get you quite comfortably into the endgame, where things will of course be shaking up a bit. I hope you've all enjoyed this then, and hopefully it helps you find some really cool loot along your journey. Like if you liked the video, subscribe with the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, I'm the conductor of the poop train! Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.